The cold water hit Paul's chest without warning. For a split second, he thought the sky had fallen. His shirt clung to his skin, his breath caught in his throat, and the sound of the plastic bucket crashing to the ground echoed louder than the murmurs of the villagers around them. He stood there, drenched, frozen, staring at the woman who had just humiliated him in public. "If you ever come near my daughter again," the woman shouted, her voice sharp with rage, "I will disgrace you more than this." Behind her, Felicia screamed, "Paul!" Her voice cracked, breaking into sobs as tears streamed down her face. She tried to run to him, but her mother yanked her back violently. That was the day everything collapsed. But this story did not begin there. It began weeks earlier, with dust in the air, harmattan cold biting the skin, and a young man determined to survive. Paul was 18 years old, a 200-level university student with a sharp mind and restless dreams. He came from a poor family, the kind where every school fee payment felt like a miracle, and every new semester carried fear along with hope. His father tried, God knew he tried, but money was always short. Still, one thing his father never compromised on was education. Every child must earn at least a bachelor's degree, no matter the sacrifice. During the harmattan break, Paul packed his small bag and traveled to the village where his uncle lived. Mr. Abel, his father's junior brother, was a farmer by life and a driver by survival. In the village, driving was power, and Mr. Abel had plenty of it. He transported tomatoes, pepper, groundnuts, cassava, and other farm produce to Ibadan, the busy city in southwestern Nigeria. Everyone knew his bus. Everyone trusted his steering. Paul did not come to rest. He came to learn. By day, he followed his uncle to the farm, his palms blistering as he learned practical farming beyond classroom theory. By evening, he sat quietly in the bus, observing gear shifts, road sense, patience, and danger. Within weeks, Paul could drive confidently, his calmness behind the wheel surprising even seasoned villagers. People noticed him. They noticed how respectful he was, how intelligent, how he greeted elders properly, and spoke English fluently when needed. In a village of barely 500 people, Yoruba, Ejed, Ogoja, Fulani, Sabi, people from Togo and Benin Republic, Paul stood out. Girls noticed him too. Pretty girls, bold girls, shy girls. They smiled when he passed. Some waved. Some found excuses to greet him. Their parents welcomed him warmly, inviting him into their homes, offering food and stories. Paul accepted their kindness, especially the food. He fell in love with akpu, the Ogoja way pounded, harder, odorless paired with rich green vegetable soups that warmed his soul. Yet, despite the attention, Paul remained distant. Not because he felt superior, but because his mind was elsewhere. Many of the girls could not match his energy or ambition. Conversations felt shallow. English was broken. Dreams were small. Paul was gentle, church-minded, and focused. He greeted with smiles, waves, and respect, never crossing lines. Money was his goal. Stability. A future that could carry him through school without burdening his father further. Then, one evening, everything changed. The bus rolled slowly along the dusty road of a neighboring town, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows. Paul was behind the wheel, focused, alert. Suddenly, a figure waved desperately by the roadside. Paul slowed. Then he saw her. His heart skipped in a way it never had before. She stood there in a black face mask, dark-skinned, clean, glowing even beneath the dust of the road. Her posture was calm, but urgent. Beside her was an older woman, and a few other familiar village faces Paul barely registered. He didn't see anyone else, just her. As she climbed into the bus with her mother and sat at the back, Paul adjusted the front mirror, pretending to check the road. His eyes caught her reflection. Her eyes smiled even behind the mask. Her voice, soft, calm, angelic, floated through the bus as she spoke to her mother in Ogoja language. Paul didn't understand the words, but he understood the feeling. For 30 minutes, he drove in silence, stealing glances, listening to their laughter, watching the closeness between mother and daughter. It stirred something deep in him, something warm and dangerous. When they arrived at the village and everyone alighted, Paul finally saw her clearly. Black sports trousers, green top, mask still on. A figure that made him forget the world. As she pulled down her mask briefly, the sight nearly knocked the breath from his chest. She was beautiful. Not loud beauty, not village beauty, but the kind of beauty that sat quietly and stayed. Paul said nothing. He watched her walk away. That night, sleep abandoned him. Days passed. then weeks. Paul began to see her around the village. He learned her name Felicia. He learned she had just returned from Cross River State to stay with her mother, popularly known as Mama Felicia. Conversations started as greetings. Greetings turned into smiles. Smiles turned into quiet talks by the roadside. Felicia was different. She was educated, calm, respectful, soft-spoken. Her laughter was gentle. Her dreams were cautious but hopeful. Paul found himself opening up, laughing more, forgetting his worries for brief moments. Love crept in unnoticed. But eyes were watching. Mama Felicia watched everything. And she did not approve. At first, it was silence, then cold stares. Then warnings whispered to Felicia at night. Soon, restrictions followed. Felicia cried. Paul tried to be patient, until love became a crime. And humiliation became punishment. The day Mama Felicia poured water on Paul was not the beginning of the pain. It was the explosion. And the tears had only just begun. If this story is already pulling at your heart, don't watch alone. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe for powerful African love. Backhand index pointing right. Like this video to support the share with someone who believes love is worth fighting.